Hi, my name is Dean Sickler and I'm the Commercial Education Specialist at Golden Paintworks. Today I'd like to share with you a very interesting texture from Golden Paintworks called Weathered Granite. Weathered Granite is a heavy-bodied acrylic texture with a crushable aggregate inside of it, which can be crushed on the final coat using either a plastic trowel or a stainless steel trowel, and lends a very subtle and natural presence to walls or any other type of surface. I'll demonstrate what it's going to look like when you crush it with either the stainless steel or plastic. Now the weathered granite texture itself is quite thick. You may want to thin it down quite a bit before you start using it for a smooth application. What I generally do is I mix a quart of water into a gallon of material. That's 25% water to the material, and that'll give you a nice consistency. What I'll usually do is I'll actually decant a quart of the material first, then I'll add in 3/4 of a cup of, 3/4 of a quart of water. I'll decant a cup first, and I'll put this inside and stir this up. As I use it, I get about halfway down. I'll put this quart of material back into it again, along with this cup of water, stir it up, and the material will stay consistent throughout the entire project. So as you can see, even when thinned down 25%, the weathered granite still has plenty of body to stay on the hawk. Now, not only does it make it much easier to apply, but it goes a lot further also. So, you want to apply the texture to about the level of the aggregate. That is, when you're applying it, just put enough pressure on it till you start to see the primer underneath and then back off. So the front of the trowel is up about a finger's worth. And when you start to smooth the plaster down, you want to make sure that it's fairly thin. Just thick enough that it covers the primer all the way. If it's too thick, that's where you get a lot of these ridge lines like this. So start to take it off. When it's nice and thin on the surface, it becomes very easy to smooth down. It's okay if you see a few shadows. You want to just make sure there's no big heavy ridge lines like something like that throws a shadow. So, okay, the first coat has had a chance to dry. It's been about 4 hours now, and it seems to be nice and tight to the surface. If you're working in a small room with limited air movement, you may want to let it dry overnight, or possibly put a fan on it to increase to speed up the drying time. Now this time I'm going to be switching down to a plastic trowel. The plastic trowel is not nearly as aggressive in crushing the aggregate as a steel trowel, but I'll finish it off first with the plastic trowel, and you can see what it looks like, and then I'll continue burnishing it down with the steel, so again you'll be able to see what that looks like also. It's usually best practice to start on a different side from what you did on the first coat. That way you won't run the chance of duplicating the pattern. The second coat is easier to apply than the first coat because now you have the texture has something to bite into, whereas the first coat it was just rolling on top of the surface. Okay, now I want to smooth down the plaster so that it's nice and even, and you'll get a nice even look across the whole surface. That way you put the blade down like this, and I guess it's about probably a finger's worth in the front of it. Keep that in the same position all the way through the stroke, like this. Okay, that'll put it on nice and evenly. You can also listen. So if you get a fat patch, it'll stop scraping across the aggregate. See right there? Take it off. Okay, now I can start seeing some patterns coming out. And what I want to do is I can finesse it using this blade here. There, now there's a very nice look just by itself. Now if I want an even stronger look, I'll switch over to the steel trowel here. You can see up close here how it's even more aggressive in crushing the aggregate. There, now we'll let that set up and dry, and you can see what it looks like when it's all finished.